Welcome to This Week in Guns, a podcast that covers the latest firearms industry news, information, and buzz, brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network. I'm your host, Jake Challen from Gun Guy Radio, and Brown Owls helps make this show possible. Selection, service, satisfaction. Find it all at Brown Owls. Please visit thisweekinguns.com/Brown Owls. Well, and this week we have returning panelists, Adam Pini from American Defense Manufacturing Group. Is that right, Adam?
Just American Defense Manufacturing.
No G on the end?
Yeah, I guess there is a G, but I don't think we say the word group at all.
What's up? How's it going?
Oh, not too bad. Just this is my lull time in between travel. Just got back from North Carolina yesterday, and then I'm going out to Ohio in a few days, then Louisiana, Alabama, D.C., Mississippi. I'll be all over the place for the next month and a half.
Very cool. And we have John Chaos, YouTube star.
YouTube sensation.
A star, yes, something like that. In my own world, perhaps.
What's up? You release any videos since we last talked?
You know, I just put up the beginning of a cleaner test. There's been this concept called the plate of truth, where you just apply the products to sheet metal and just leave it outside and see what holds up the best to the elements. And I did one with some of the newer CLPs that are out there. A lot of guys had done, like, you know, Ballistol and Break Free and all that, the stuff that's been around for years, but there isn't enough information about the new and cool CLPs. I tried one called Alpha CLP, got Fire Clean, Frog Lube, Tech Shield Elite, bunch of cool stuff, and part one of that video got uploaded today, the day of this recording. So yeah, you know, all kinds of videos coming out, cranking them out like crazy.
Very cool. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of good things about that Fire Clean and about Frog Lube, both of those.
Yeah, I was. Without spoiling it, I'm happy with both of those.
Very cool. All right. Well, a few announcements before we get rolling here. If you're in the Chicagoland area, there's a bullpup shoot going on in Waterman, Illinois, coming up here September 27th. So just a little over a month away, and it's going to be pretty cool from what I hear. There's going to be tons of different bullpups there to shoot. There's going to be a zombie shoot as well. And they're also going to have a few fully automatic varieties to shoot. And so this is Waterman, Illinois. It's 30 minutes to an hour away from southwest Chicagoland, depending on where you're coming from. So it's definitely drivable from Chicagoland. And from our statistics, I can see that we have quite a few Illinois listeners. So there's going to be a few personalities there, including me from the Firearms Radio Network, so we'd like to see you there. And we're going to have a booth and probably be giving away some, FRN stickers and stuff like that.
So people can come see you and shoot machine guns?
You don't want to see me, but you can shoot machine guns.
Yeah, but, I mean, maybe they want to shake your hand or punch you in the face. I mean, either way, they want to see you, right?
Maybe. No, I'd love to see you guys. Anyone listening, watching, love to meet you. Shake your hand in person. That would be an honor. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, me and Sam were just talking about that. We that's not that far from where we are, because we're only like an hour 15 from Chicago. So it's 2 hours total from us. So we may end up just driving down there to come check it out.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And we might get together afterwards. You never know. So have something to eat together. That'd be cool too. I
love food. So
you really? No.
Yeah, I love it. It's one of my favorite pastimes.
So if you had to pick Chicagoland area, tell me, Chicago pizza or Chicago hot dogs?
Neither, because I stay out of Chicago.
No.
I'm gonna say pizza because
if you didn't have to go to Chicago, I stay out of Chicago too. I'm talking in the town just north of Waterman, where you could have either one.
I'm a big burger guy. Like I'm I'm a burger connoisseur. It's my favorite thing. But secondary, it's always going to be pizza. I mean, always.
Have you ever ate at Portillo's? It's a Chicago area chain. That's a hot dog.
Isn't like hot roast beef another big thing that's in Chicago?
Yeah, they have amazing roast beef. They have amazing burgers. They have amazing everything at Portillo's. I'm sure some listeners know what I'm talking about. It's so good that people that I know that have moved away mail order it, to themselves once they move away to still eat it.
Wow.
That's pretty hardcore, actually.
Yeah.
So anyways, we launched our Patreon for this. We'll talk about that more later on, but you can pledge your support at thisweekinguns.com/pledge. And before we get into the main stories, you can also contribute by shopping our Amazon or Brownells affiliates by clicking the banners on our website before you go shopping next time. So let's get into the top stories of this week, or at least some of them. So let's talk about Guns for the Blind. So did you guys see this when it came out? Dom Rosso in the NRA freestyle or whatever, they posted a video about Guns for the Blind and advocating why the visually impaired have a right to self-defense as well. And apparently there was backlash about it, and then it was pulled down, and then moms demand action for common sense. What is it? Moms something.
Demand action for gun sense.
They reposted it. So John, what do you think?
First, I just got to say, wow. On the surface, giving a gun to somebody that can't see is interesting. It's a little bit, I would say, dangerous. I don't know. Forgive me if there's something I'm missing here. I mean, I agree. Everybody has the right to self-defense. That is not a flawed statement in any way. But I don't know how they would train. There's got to be something that I'm missing here. You know what I mean? Like I don't fully understand how somebody that cannot see the gun or where it's pointing or anything like that would use it. Now I understand they have heightened senses beyond sight. When you lose one sense, all of your others amplify to make up for that, and I understand that. But I don't know. That's like letting a blind guy drive, isn't it? And they're not allowed to drive.
Well, I guess there's a couple things here. It's what level of blindness are we talking about?
That's a good point.
Because even if you're legally blind and you can't drive, you still may be able to see enough to maybe even shoot like a IDPA match or something. I think it's local to me. I saw a story about a guy that's legally blind, but yet he shoots an IDPA match every Wednesday night or something. And he has like some assistance, I think, but he can still, perform well enough to do that safely.
But sure, the guy can shoot in competition and things like that, but given a self-defense situation where there are so many variables that you can't ever account for them, is that a good move? And being that the NRA pulled the video and they kind of backpedaled on it, that's a little scary.
Well, that's nothing new for the NRA. They are the king of backpedaling. And it's funny, I'm reading the comments of that video, and one of the guys says, if the NRA ever wins 100% of our 2A rights, and that's everything, they are completely out of business. So as much as we'd like to think they are for us, which they are, they still have a public image to worry about, so they can't push like every full-bore 2A supportive movement. So they've done this many times where they've come out in support of something and then be like, oh, well, it's not cool that the public doesn't like us now, so let's just backpedal. They do it many times, and they continue to do it.
Adam, you're right. They can't support every Second Amendment tangent out there, but I think the big story is here that they did pull it, that they did backpedal, and I think that's something they just can't do anymore. I mean, especially in the internet age where someone can just repost the video. I'm like, didn't they know this would happen? Like, what are they? I mean, sure they
They're
may
a crew of
came to the conclusion. Apparently they came to the conclusion that they made a mistake. But why would you not release another piece of content addressing that rather than trying to hide the one that you did release?
Because that's too much work.
yeah, and they're still convinced that if you put it on the internet and take it down, it was never there. They don't understand that once it's on the internet, it's there forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah, just go to the waybackmachine.com. So, anyways, let's talk about the Walmart airgun death a little bit.
Man.
So this happened. This may have happened last week before I did that show, and I chose not to talk about it yet. But yeah, apparently there was this guy in Walmart, and it looks like now that he was supposedly carrying around a BB gun or an air gun that he was planning on buying, or maybe even an airsoft. Who knows? But it's like a SCAR lookalike or something.
ACR.
Or ACR, yeah. And the cops are called and everything, man with a gun, people freaking out, and the cops confronted him, and he didn't drop his weapon apparently fast enough, and they shot him and killed him. And now things are coming out sounding like maybe the police acted a little too fast, or maybe, I don't know, maybe this guy really wasn't walking around all that crazily. What do you guys gather from the different things out there?
I don't know. There are a lot of points that are missing out of this story, and until we see like security footage or something, we don't know if this guy was running around pointing it at people and threatening them or anything like that. And like, was he quote unquote brandishing this thing, or was he just carrying it around? I mean, there's a lot of different ways to gauge a threat, and it's tough to say whether the police acted appropriately because we don't know what he was doing at the time they confronted him. And I mean,
well, and that's a disclaimer we can say about any story we talk about on this show, really. But yeah,
That's
you're
true.
right. You're right. We really don't know.
I mean, let's say that he didn't drop the gun and he didn't, he was being a jerk and all that kind of stuff. Then, I mean, they presented firearms to him. They said, "Drop your gun." That's their protocol. And if he did not, then, I mean, unfortunately for the kid, that's a possibility of happening. You know what I mean? They are within their rights to use lethal force if they deem necessary. Now, like I was just saying, I don't know if that's true, if it was necessary, but they're not that far out of line if this is the case, because that, from the picture, if you're standing 20 feet away from that, you'd never know. That looks like an ACR.
Yeah, I mean, nothing. If I saw somebody cruising around with that thing, I would instantly be very heightened and worried because it is so real. And I'm not the one that's like, they change all the toy guns around for kids because they look too real. It comes down to, at the end of the day, it's still a gun that could hurt and inflict pain on people.
Right.
You should still act smart around it. I'm not going to run outside with an airsoft gun and point it at people, not expecting to have some kind of repercussions. It's the whole play stupid games, and you get with those kind of answers.
Another thing to note is that on the box that they're showing here in this article, that gun does not have an orange muzzle device, and that's supposed to be pretty typical. Obviously, this is a BB gun and not an airsoft gun.
That's actually a federal regulation, whatever you call it, that has an orange tip. I looked into that a while back. That's actually a federal thing.
Now, is that strictly for airsoft, or does that apply to BB guns as well? Because I know there's pellet guns and stuff that don't have that.
I'm not sure that does apply to. I'm trying to think if my pellet gun has an orange tip. I don't think it does.
Yeah, I don't think
I've
mine
ever
does.
seen a pellet or BB gun with an orange tip.
Yeah, I think it's toy guns and airsoft guns. Yeah.
Well, beyond that, I think this is also something that could be thought about when you're thinking about the open carry movement. Like, you've got the guys in open carry Texas going into Target and all that kind of stuff with guns, and they're not that far away from this kind of stuff happening.
Right. Yeah. It is a different world we live in nowadays, and if you're, I guess if you're looking at a toy gun at Walmart, be a little self-conscious. Is one of the things I gathered from this.
Yeah, yeah. It's a shame, man. You don't like to see quote unquote good kids have bad stuff happen to them, but if they make bad choices, that's going to be the way it goes.
Totally. So, I don't know. I think I want this pellet ACR, though. It's 800 feet per second, 1.7. I have a rabbit problem. Come on.
Just be careful. Just be careful when you're walking around. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I'll be.
Just be sure when you leave Walmart.
Just trying it out. So carrying a gun, way worse than beating your wife. This is on actually USA Today, and this is about the New Jersey, or actually it's a Pennsylvania woman, right? Philadelphia woman.
Yeah, she went into New Jersey.
She went into New Jersey. This happened several weeks ago, and she has a legally owned handgun, a legal permit in Pennsylvania, but she was not aware that it was not valid in New Jersey, and she got in trouble for that. But she specifically got in trouble for that, and was it also that something to do with the ammo?
Yeah, pretty much everything's illegal in New Jersey.
Yeah,
hollow points are. Yeah, hollow points are like a felony per bullet. It's pretty insane.
So this article is about there's another case about a guy that beat his wife unconscious, and he didn't have to go to prison at all, and where it's contrasting it to this situation with this single mom that may have to serve up to 3 years, 42 months.
Yeah, it's absolutely absurd. I mean, the laws in New Jersey are some of the worst in the country, and I mean literally when I have friends that come out of New Jersey into Pennsylvania, they get out of their car and arm themselves because they're legally allowed in Pennsylvania. But going back across the border, you've got to lock that thing up in God knows what, and you can't have any ammo anywhere near it. You're just not allowed to exercise your rights in New Jersey. I mean, Peeny's from this area as well originally, so he knows really well.
Yeah, I mean, I used to work at a gun shop that bordered Jersey, like right near the bridge, and we'd have people that come over all the time, and they would just tell us the horror stories of not only all the difficulties of obtaining and owning, but the persecution that they get because they're looked at as a dirty second-class person because they're a firearms owner, and it's looked down on so hard in that state. But it's good to see with like the recent stuff that Chris Christie's doing that maybe they're kind of progressing in a better way. They were trying to go for a harder magazine capacity ban, and he shut that down. So hopefully that place gets good because like southern Jersey's amazing. It's just like Pennsylvania. They're great people. It's all farmland, really beautiful areas. We've shot, me and John have shot there with shooting sporting clays, and it's amazing. But all the decisions are made in North Jersey when it's closer to New York, where you have higher violence and higher crime rates. So it's really tough, and the guys that come down, they have money, they want to buy stuff, and they want to keep supporting the Second Amendment and obtaining all the stuff that they should legally own, but they can't. They just make it hard. You can only buy one firearm a month. You can only, you got to get a permit to own a gun, which is, in my mind, absolutely insane.
Well, so this single mom, her name is Shannon Allen or Shanine Allen. How do you?
Shanine.
Shanine. There we go.
Shanine Allen.
So, hopefully she gets out of this mess. I mean, it's awful. She has two boys, I believe, young boys, and man, to be away from your kids and family for 42 months, I can't even imagine. For just a silly thing.
And for exercising a right that's in the Constitution.
Yep. Yeah, but we gotta look at the flip side, and I don't like being like this, but she also has a responsibility to know local laws.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, that I'm big on personal responsibility and owning your own actions. Anytime I travel with any of my NFA stuff, I know where it's legal to, where I can take it, what I can do with it. Being a gun owner comes with a lot of responsibilities, and you have to own up to that stuff from time to time.
John, is there training requirements in Pennsylvania for a permit?
No.
Okay.
No, in Pennsylvania, you can go into your county sheriff's office, say, I would like a permit. They call it a license to carry a firearm in Pennsylvania. They don't call it a concealed weapons permit or anything like that. So you go in, say you want your license to carry a firearm. You have you fill out a background check, and they take a picture of you. And in my county, it takes about 30. I think they have 45 days to get you your permit. Other counties, like the more rural ones, you can walk in and walk out with it. So it's pretty lax here in PA as far as training goes.
Yeah, that's one thing that came to mind. Well, did she not get some kind of training when she got her permit? Like, if there was a mandatory class, did they not talk about careful going over by New Jersey?
Right. But Peeny's 100% right with that personal responsibility comment. I mean, we're all expected to know the laws of firearms owners, and when you buy a new gun, that kind of stuff is in the manuals. There's paperwork that gun shops are supposed to give you when you purchase a firearm that include that kind of stuff. Understand the laws where you're operating said firearm so that you don't get into trouble. And unfortunately, this woman did not.
Well, I don't know. It's a difficult thing because we're seeing more and more new gun owners come into the firearms arena, and a lot of them are just that. They're newbies. They don't know anything really. I mean, hardly anything. And I don't know. It's a difficult thing because we want to see more and more people come into the firearms ownership, but at the same time, how do you make them aware of this stuff?
And that's why a lot of organizations are not just promoting firearms ownership; they're promoting responsible gun ownership. That's the key thing that you'll see with a lot of these bigger names is they're pushing responsible gun ownership, and that's the way to do it because we don't want a bunch of people that are, basically ignorant, just parading around and doing whatever they feel like because that makes everybody look bad, unfortunately.
You mean like Texas Open Carry?
Yes, exactly like Texas Open Carry.
Right, but at the same time, we don't want to make it a hindrance for new people coming in. And
I completely yes, you're right.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. Anytime you do something new, the first time you drive a car, you learn what the laws are. It's all big boy rules when we play with dangerous stuff.
All 50 states, I don't.
No. Yeah, it's crazier. The further you go south, the faster the speed limits are, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I still got pulled over for doing like 95 in Missouri, but we won't talk about that. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just tough. I mean, because you'll get people all over the spectrum on this. Some will want to make 100% mandatory 16 hours of training like I have in Illinois. And they can claim that stuff like this doesn't happen. And then I don't think there should be. I love Pennsylvania. I love that you guys don't have any training required, but I do think people should get training. But how do you? I don't know. A lot of people just aren't going to get training. That's the reality, I think, because it's like anything. I buy a new computer or TV. I don't read the instructions. I don't follow instructions. I don't know. I think it's kind of the natural human condition to an extent to just get to the point where you're comfortable and you think you know enough, but you don't know enough.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's very difficult to say. Training is definitely one of the best things that you can possibly do for yourself, and I encourage everybody out there watching, listening, to get as much training as you can possibly afford. And it's so difficult to say what should be required. I'm of the belief that it's a personal thing. You should be encouraged to get training, but you should not be forced, and I think that should be across the board.
Yep.
All right. Should we talk about Tracking Point a little bit and their new
Heck
AR?
yeah, tracking point's pretty cool. I mean, I think it's a silly idea, but it's pretty cool, like tech innovation.
So this is an article on Ars Technica, which is a pretty big tech blog out there, and I was pleasantly surprised. It's a long article, and it's fairly accurate as well. It doesn't have from what I can tell, it really doesn't have any kind of slant to it, which is good. So just I want to touch on that real quick before we talk about it, but it's a mainstream new media website, and they did a non-firearms website, and they did a good job on it, I think.
That's actually pretty shocking. I know you get into networks like the Gawker network, and all they do is slam gun owners like we're a bunch of crazies, and it's like, oh my lord. And then you've got another tech website, like you said, and they're doing an actual good representation. It's sad that it's rare to see good journalism anymore. That's you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah.
The first thing I noticed was that the whole article is not focused on the gun itself, but the entire tech system that goes into making that firearm. So it kind of came off either which way. It's like, we don't really care about guns or this. It's all about the technology and innovation that's driving this system. I mean, specifically by putting on there as, it's a Linux-based system. That's what I thought was really, really cool. And then they bring it down into the ammunition, which is another key part of that system. So it is a really well done article, but it's focused on the tech, not the actual, the firearm.
Well, that's smart on their point, because their audience doesn't care. You know what I mean? They're not coming to this website looking for gun debate. They're coming here to learn about tech and what's new and cool, and that's exactly what this Tracking Point stuff is. Whether or not it's a useful thing or whatever, it's cool. I mean, to see advancement in firearms technology, the possibilities are endless, and we're just at the tip of the iceberg right now. So I personally love to see thinking outside the box, deviating from the path. I think that's really neat. And whether or not, like I said, this may not be the solution, the be-all, end-all, and I don't think it is, but it's a step in the right direction.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And the Tracking Point stuff is, it's going into a realm that's never been touched. I mean, it is essentially taking the shooter out of the equation and making it all, technology-driven stuff.
Right, which is, at this point, it's mind-blowing. Because how much time you, as a precision shooter, Adam, how much time do you spend learning the gun? And over the years, you've spent countless hours learning how and teaching yourself how to properly put that round where it needs to go, and this is simplifying that on a pretty big scale, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's still going to be. You're right. For the average target shooter, it takes somebody like me, who is a very specialty shooter, and makes it normal, which kind of sucks, but it is. What it is. In the military, it's never going to make automation big, because they still have to have a guy behind the trigger to make that mental decision of, okay, this is when I do it. Yeah. But if you want to drop 40 grand and be able to shoot 1,200, 1,300 yards, be at it. I mean, you can do it with that system. Me, I've probably invested just as much in learning how to do it, to where I could pick up any gun.
And they keep releasing more and more affordable models as well. I think the new AR platform is going to be at the $10,000 level. So
wow.
that puts it. Something else this article talked about. For the average Joe, that price point puts it in, the category of, do I get? I think they specifically say this. Do I get like a new Sea-Doo or a new four-wheeler or whatever kind of thing a common guy like us might get? Do I get that, or do I get this Tracking Point?
Yeah, that's actually something that I hadn't really considered, is that it's becoming in the realm of luxury items. Mm-hmm. Motorcycles, wave runners, all that kind of stuff. That's actually
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what it is. It's like, I could buy my surgeon gun for 10 grand, or I could buy the Ferrari of that being a Tracking Point for 30 grand. If he's got the disposable income, what do you think he's going to buy? It's like if Dan Blazarian walked in, what was he going to buy? He'll buy the Tracking Point because he's got that kind of disposable money.
What that car reference is kind of interesting. Now, I don't know how many people out there are gearheads, but to me, you've got a car like a Ferrari that you mentioned, and typically Ferraris tend to be, at least older ones, a little bit more raw, which is what I would compare to a proper bolt gun. And then you've got something like this, which is like your new Nissan GTR, which is all computers, and it's way less driver input. It's more car controlled, and that's kind of what's going on here. And I think we'll see more of this. I don't think Tracking Point is the end of this innovation. We're going to see other companies start popping up over the next several years, trying to push this technology in a completely different direction that we haven't even seen yet.
I'm talking cyborgs, integrated weapon systems into humans. Let's do this. Send me back. I will save John Connor, baby.
Chainsaw arms. This is my boomstick. Hey, listen. Think about, we're seeing new technology with stuff like Google Glass. I mean, you wouldn't even have to hold the gun. I mean, the possibilities are endless.
Tracking Point has integrated Google Glass into their systems.
Wow, that's cool.
It's amazing from a tech standpoint. It's horrible from a hardcore performance shooting enthusiast, to where it's like, this is something that I've worked my life to be good at, and you've just made it that anybody can do it. And it's like, it takes the special out of being a special shooter, is kind of what I'm saying. But it's awesome because it's innovation. But we have to worry about innovation to a point to where it could be bringing smart guns in. There's always good with bad. If they have the power to turn that gun on, there's power to turn that gun off.
Oh, well, we'll talk about that in an article or two. But the real question is, what happens when the smart guns become self-aware?
Dude, I'm telling you, Terminator, send me back. I'm coming for John Connor.
Spoiler alert for This Week in Guns that releases this Sunday. I actually interviewed Scott from Tracking Point, and so we talk about some of this. And a little bit more difficult questions about Remington and Tracking Point, and also about a couple weeks ago, I don't know if you remember, you might have been on the show, John, but there was an article about Tracking Point filing a patent about technology that would disable smart guns within a school zone.
Yeah, I was on that episode, and that's a special topic.
So yeah, you also get your answer to that.
Okay.
So I'll make you wait.
Well, I'll have to listen.
Gun Guy Radio this Sunday.
Shameless plug.
But yeah, I'm very excited to see where these smart. I don't know. I don't want to call Tracking Point a smart gun, but I guess that's kind of what it is. But these.
When do you think we'll have phasers?
Optics. I'm really interested to see when we're down the road, like you said, Adam. When company number 2, company number 3 comes out with the competition to this, and see what those setups look like. Can they come out with one that's only a couple $1,000s?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what you see as more competition comes in the market. You'll see those prices drive down and down. And if you look at the stuff like their $30,000 bolt gun system, I mean, that is an impressive system. I mean, it's a Surgeon, 1086 action, Bartline barrels, AX chassis. I mean, it's made out of some incredible stuff. So I mean, the money into it you're paying, I'm sure there's a lot of cost in those systems, so they're not making a ton. But as you see more people come into it, you're going to see those prices go down. And as more technology comes out and the newer stuff becomes older, you're going to see prices drop as well. So within the next 10 years, we could see Tracking Point systems for as low as $2,000 or $3,000. You just never know.
And Adam, you said what about phasers? Rail guns are not that far off.
Oh my God, dude! The day we can set guns to stun, oh my Lord, it's going to be fantastic. But no, I mean, it's always crazy to see, what's the next idea? What's the next progression we could do? Because, if you would have told us 5 years ago that, there's a rifle that, anybody could sit behind and you could shoot 1,000 yards with no training at all, everybody would be like, you are high and Never going to happen. But who knows where we'll be in 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years.
All right, so gun exec's bold message to Holder. He says, I destroy my smart gun technology before I let the government use it against the American people.
I'm just going to go out on record here. This Armatix company, from what I gather, is a bunch of scumbags, and I think they're just saying this kind of thing as a PR stunt.
Yeah.
I think they are trying their damnedest to get that gun accepted in the United States, and unfortunately it's not, and I don't know that it ever will be, not within the next, 5-10 years, but I have a hard time believing this guy. I love the fact that he told Eric Holder this, because I cannot stand Eric Holder. I loathe that man. But I don't trust this company one bit. I can't trust them at all.
And I'm with John, and the main reason I have is because that company tried to jam up a close personal friend of both of ours, who runs a really amazing gun shop in Maryland, and tried to dupe him into bringing this gun in on lies and deceit. So once that starts with lies and deceits, that's all it will build off of. So I have no interest in bringing that garbage tech into our country, making it a sellable product for people to propagate and grow to where it becomes the norm in every firearm. So absolutely, I would never want to see that trash on American soil.
Now, someone, I'm not going to say who told me this, but the concept behind it is not flawed. And I'll tell you why I say that. Because it's a gun, and it falls under the Second Amendment. There is nothing in the Second Amendment that says anything about how the gun is controlled, etc., etc. It is a gun, and because of that, it's not necessarily the worst thing on earth to be out there and available for people. If that gets somebody into guns, if that is, just like I've been saying this about High Point recently, if that's the gun you choose and that gets you into firearms, cool. However, I think this particular company is a bunch of scumbags.
John, I got a rebuttal to that. Look at the what happened with 7 and 6. The second somebody made a pistol, it ruined it for everybody. Now that ammo can be no longer brought in here, and that ammo is now cheaper. So you're going to bring tech in here that could potentially change the future of how our firearms are made.
That's
because you and I both know that if Congress finds out about this, I mean, it's the same thing that happened in California when they tried to do micro stamping on fire pins. They're going to start trying to pass this absolutely insane legislation to make it the only legal firearms are smart firearms.
Well, that's why people got all fired up when this became a national thing. People got fired up because of that exact reason.
But that's something we always have to be concerned about, because we all know that the politicians don't have our best interest in mind. They only have what's best for them.
They
can make guns safe.
Go ahead.
No, finish. No, finish. I'm done.
They have what's best for their pockets in mind.
Well, I trust the government. You don't? What? Makes me.
I trust them as far as I could throw them.
You don't pray to the government every night like Butters?
Yes. Oh my God. It's so great. And how he said Butters was fantastic.
All right. Well, let's move on to Sons of Guns. Will Hayden arrested for child molestation.
I'm telling you this off the gate. No comment. I'm not willing to. I'm just no comment. I'm good.
So apparently he was arrested. This is according to TMZ and Truth About Guns on August 11th, I think. Have you guys seen any follow-ups to this?
No,
story?
I just saw the first thing come out. Nobody's really following up on it.
So his daughter, which I assume is the one that you see on the show, released a statement saying this was a false allegation. Unfortunately, that's all it takes. My father is a good man, and all of his children, I love him very much, and are truly sickened that a person would try to do this to our family. It's not right. You see the love we have for our family. Please don't believe the headline. Read the rest. Even the full story states it's not true. The one thing that really hurts us is that my sister is heartbroken that anyone could think this of her father. It's a nightmare. Please stand by us. And who I saw somewhere, was it his ex-girlfriend that filed the report?
Is that true? All I saw was a bunch of headlines and a bunch of bashing, so I don't know. Of course, see, here's the thing. Of course, whoever is behind this man is going to say it was false, whether it is or not. No, just like when some hoodlum gets shot. Oh, he was a good kid. He was a good kid. He murdered 10 people, but he was a good kid. You know what I mean? It's the same concept there. And to be fair, that the what is her name? Stephanie is very good at playing the victim. She loves being the victim. However, because people pick on her for being on the show. However, if this is true, then good riddance. I mean, what else can we say?
I'm still sticking to no comment. No, just because what I would say would, A, you couldn't air on this show, and B, it would probably get me sued, and I'm just not worth it.
And if she did air it, it would have never been done before, right?
Oh, never been done before. Game changer.
22 states unite in a major stand against gun control. This is a response to the New York SAFE Act that was passed earlier this year. And now 22 states have filed an amicus brief, I believe it's called, and this lawsuit that is challenging the New York SAFE Act. So this is on the Capital Institute .org or capitalisminstitute.org. So this is interesting, and it's also a vast majority of law enforcement, I guess, have also gotten behind this. So it'll be interesting if in the coming years, probably be years because it's going through the courts, if they can get the SAFE Act repealed. That would be a really good win for us.
That'd be huge. I mean, the second, even before it went into place, the police in New York were saying, how are we going to enforce this? This is impossible to enforce. Why are you doing this? But, of course, they pushed it through for looks, because they want to look like they care.
Right. It was like
public safety. That's why they put any of these laws for public safety and greater good. When it's not what they care, again, it comes back to the whole personal agenda thing by politicians. It has nothing to do with personal safety at all.
Yeah, all the sheriffs and almost all the counties opposed it, except for just a handful, if even a handful. It might have been just a couple of counties that sided with it, but yeah, the vast majority of them. But we saw a similar thing in Colorado as well. So, but as we've seen, New York's a little bit of a different animal, and it may take a little more time to get this overturned. I don't know, the whole Northeast. I feel for anyone living in the Northeast right now, and unless you're like in Maine or somewhere.
New Hampshire and Maine are good. I'm not sure about Vermont. Massachusetts is a loss right now. Oh my God, that's awful.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. I would just like to say that New York as a state has the unfortunate circumstance that most of these anti-gun states have, that the small majority of land is controlling the larger portion of the state. For instance, in Illinois, Chicago controls the entire state, and in New York, of
Maryland.
course, yeah, Baltimore controls it. D.C. has control, and then
it all comes down to population. If you have a lot of rural with not much rural, but a really dense populated city, you're going to see them waver more towards gun control. In states like, just like what you said, Maryland, Delaware is like that, which is another state that I came from, which got really bad. I mean, you'll see that, and you'll get pushed more farther and farther into the country where they have higher rural populations versus denser populations.
All right. Well, Adam, let's talk about your neck of the woods. Bloomberg tried to oust the current Milwaukee County sheriff in a primary runoff. He threw $150,000 into this through commercial campaigns and the like. And the election, I think, was this Tuesday, or the primary, not an election. And we had a win. The sheriff, the pro-gun sheriff, pulled off a win, and Bloomberg lost once again. So
let me tell you how excited I was to be sitting. I was at War Sport Industries in North Carolina, just going through my feed on Facebook, and I saw that, and the fact that he is a Democrat, and I know him locally. He's a Democrat that's pro-gun, that rides a horse with a cowboy hat, and he's African American. He is the package, and I've talked to him twice. He's an amazing man. I am so ready for this dude to not only be the sheriff, but to move on to be the governor, and just he's a fantastic, huge on Second Amendment rights. He pushes. Once he goes into Milwaukee, he'll help with NFA stuff. He's big on all that. So, I mean, that is the biggest win of the year for gun rights, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's absolutely fantastic. And let's just state again that Bloomberg is from where? Somebody fill me in. Where's he from?
Wisconsin, New York. Right? We're talking about a Wisconsin election. He must be from Wisconsin, right?
Right. He must be from Wisconsin. He's from New York, and he's investing $150,000 against somebody that's not in his state. Can someone tell him to? Man, I cannot come up with a way to say this on air that's safe. Tell him to go away.
Yeah. But how awesome is that he just lost $150K on a bad bet? I mean, that's like.
You know what sucks? That's nothing to him.
I know, and that's so much to people like us. Like, it boggles my mind how much money those people could throw around. Yeah. But to give him that jab, oh my God, that was the best part of it all. Like, as soon as I saw him, like, because he doesn't have a Republican that runs against him, so he's a shoo-in to win. He will be Milwaukee's next sheriff, and it's going to be fantastic. But to know that Bloomberg had to eat that crow, it sat so good in my heart.
Yeah, that's. I mean, let's think about how much money Michael Bloomberg has lost just on these failures against America, because he's not against the people, he's against the entire country at that point, right? He's against American values, and I would love to see this man go broke, trying to just flounder and fail every single time.
I don't know if I'd say that. He's a billionaire. I don't know if I want him throwing billions of dollars at these.
Well, we'll keep winning because, I mean, up until this point, we've seen logic prevail.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's like 0 for 100 at this moment. So,
well,
if he keeps plugging away,
it does talk about the Virginia election that he also influenced, and it went the other way, where the pro-gun candidate lost.
That's because Virginia was it close to D.C.?
I think it was. I don't know. So.
That's what you run into a lot of times is some of these guys, like Adam was saying, want to become future politicians, and if they see dollar signs, they may be swayed. But I think fortunately right now we are in an upswing of understanding of American values, and I think people are out there. Yeah, going, I think I do need a firearm. I think I do want to support the Second Amendment, and here's why. Because the truth is spreading, and that's because of people like us.
Yeah, I like the phrase you used there, an upswing of American values. I think it's more than just Second Amendment rights. I think it's also family and other things, because my wife is beginning to homeschool her kids. We're gonna homeschool them. I've got 4 kids, 4 years old and under, and we're starting with the older few. And there's a real upswing in the last 5 years or so of homeschooling. And it's not the like homeschooling from when we were kids, like the crazy no one antisocial ones. It's not like that, but it's like it's really mainstream now. It's like people like us doing it, hippies doing it, higher educated parents that are deciding to do it, even though that they were, brought up a different way, or more, I don't know. I really hope we see more of an upswing in just all areas. But anyways, going back to Wisconsin, I want to note that this is the second time something like this has happened in the last 2 years, because they tried to recall Governor Walker.
Yeah.
And they also failed at that, which I loved, because Walker, was a big part of, at least I don't know. I'm not that well versed in Wisconsin's, pro-gun arena, but from my understanding, he was a fairly, big part of getting your concealed carry and everything through. And then after that, they tried to recall him, and they failed at that as well. And also, a lot of outside money, from what I understand, flowed in during his recall as well.
Yeah, just in the short time that I've been in Wisconsin, I mean, it is a amazingly pro-gun state. And I should say it's a pro-freedom state, because everybody here, it's the community is a big thing, but the community good is not the worry. It is the worry about yourself, your family, and taking care of your responsibilities. I was wearing an Endo shirt that just said "Run Guns," and I was out at the mall one day, and like 3 people were like, "I'm carrying mine, you carrying yours?" I was like, it's just amazing. And coming from Maryland, where you don't see that stuff, it's just fantastic to see that people really care about their Second Amendment rights as much as they care about anything else.
And what you said about they're not really concerned about the community good, rather than that we're coming back to personal responsibility. And in personal responsibility, you maintain the good of the community. It's that simple.
Yeah, well said. So, have you lost a gun in the mail? Well, the ATF.
I've lost an upper receiver in the mail.
Oh, gosh, that stinks.
Yeah, it was a 300 blackout SBR upper. I was so mad.
Did you see the video going around Facebook? My wife sent this, or no, my buddy Mike sent this to me. Of a mail carrier just dumping like cartons of mail in the dumpster.
Oh my look! Wow.
Yeah, there's a video floating around. It's yeah. Maybe that's where it went. The dumpster. They just don't feel like delivering it.
I have to say, out of all the carriers, UPS is the absolute worst to send anything through. And firearms, and it seems to be firearms are the worst.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of other firearms manufacturers, everybody ships FedEx because of that reason. Because UPS.
We talked about that last week. We had a story where there was a UPS worker that was arrested for stealing like 70. I think it was like 70 some firearms out of them.
Oh my god!
Out of boxes.
Dude, they're the worst. I mean, the absolute history records. If you went to every major firearms manufacturer, it's 100% all FedEx, because they are the best to ship firearms to, because they keep everything accountable. They keep good track record on all the firearms. It's pretty awesome.
Well, so the ATF wants to. They've published a proposal that they want public comment on for 90 days. I think they published it, last Tuesday, or maybe this Tuesday, and they want to make a federal. Federal law already requires licensed dealers and manufacturers to report the loss or theft of a firearm to the feds 48 hours after it's discovered to be missing. Could be just lost in the mail for 48 hours. How would you know? But there's no such requirement for guns gone missing while in transit. So it says every year about 1,500 guns turn up at crime scenes that disappear during shipping, according to the ATF.
So how do they know that if there's no tracking?
Yeah.
It comes down to reporting for actually getting paid back. Like if I insure my gun and it goes lost, they have to pay it out. They pay me the value back, and they have to take records of that. So that's where it comes from. And most of the times when you do that, you have to file a police report. Trust me, I know from experience. Not super fun.
And and being guns, I assume it's anything serialized like lowers, handguns. It's
Yeah,
going
I
to
mean,
be the transferable part.
yeah, I mean, even upper receivers, like they put that down as a firearm part.
Hmm. So, yeah. So don't mail your guns. I think it comes down to that. Just drive it across the country. Wait, that might not be good either.
Yeah, just avoid New Jersey.
So, armed shop owners ward off looters in St. Louis. This is in the Washington Times. So, there's been riots and everything in St. Louis here in the last week or so, and this article is talking a little bit about like a tattoo studio. It's got the workers standing outside with a couple guns. I can't really tell what they are from that picture. Maybe an AK.
We've got an AK, what looks to be an SBR, and then a shotgun with a pistol grip and a stock.
Yep.
But yeah, so this made me kind of reminded me of the L.A. riots where what was it, I'm going to say the wrong nationality here, but the Koreans that held off the riots with Mini 14s during the
Yeah,
LA
Mini
riots?
14s and shotgun. That's awesome.
Let's see here. So I had another story that also talked about this Missouri. You know what? I lost it.
Stuff is getting real out there. I don't know what's happening. I unfortunately haven't had the time to follow it, but I keep seeing people, like the standard group versus the police. That stuff's scary.
Are you talking about the Ferguson stuff?
Yeah, well, that's what this is pertaining to, these riots, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I actually listened to a discussion earlier that brought in the whole talk about militarization of our police officers and law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were, I think last night during the protest, the police department was shooting beanbag rounds, tear gas at the protesters as well as the news coverage that was there.
Well, that's what this next article I got is. It's talking about, how they shot tear gas at news coverage. They took down some of their equipment, took their cameras down. And I saw a video of them doing this too. So it's just crazy. And this next article is from the Atlantic, and it says any American can take any police officer's photo. And this is something that comes up quite often, especially if you get into the crazy open carry stuff. But not even just that, but whether or not you can record the police, take a photo of the police, and this article talks about what's going on with aftermath of the Ferguson incidents, and how police kicked a bunch of journalists out of a McDonald's. Told them to stop filming, stop recording, and then they also took down. Police hit the crew of an Al Jazeera American TV crew and with tear gas and dismantled their gear. I think that's a video I saw where they hit it with tear gas. The crew runs off, and then they walk up and they lay all their equipment down and lay their camera down. I'm like. I mean, the police, they got to think they're under such scrutiny. Why would they even touch a video camera of a news crew?
That's really, really stupid.
I'm like, that's so stupid.
Unfortunately, we're starting to see some bad things like this. Not, of course, I'm not going to blanket and say all cops are bad, but we're seeing some police that think they are above the law in situations like this, and that is just unacceptable behavior. You know what I mean? You are, as a police officer, you're supposed to quote unquote serve and protect, not aim your guns at innocent people and hit them with tear gas. That's what in the world were they thinking? And I mean, obviously, it's a heated situation in Ferguson. It's beyond normal protocol there. However, does that give them the right to shoot people with less lethal rounds and tear gas and all that kind of stuff? No, it doesn't.
It says, here's a part of the article about the photos. It says citizens have the right to take pictures of anything in plain view in the public space, including police officers and federal buildings. Police cannot confiscate, demand a view, delete digital photos. It says private property owners can set different rules for recording, but it did not appear in this incident at the McDonald's that the manager was objecting to their video recording or anything. But at the very bottom, here's another excerpt that says, this is from a media attorney. He says, the thing that I would recommend would be to do whenever possible is to make sure that your news gathering efforts are open, visible, and on public property. This will give the best possible legal position or defense to any claim by a police officer for invasion of privacy. And then it says, which is truly a meritless claim.
Man, it's sad that this is what it's coming to.
We could talk about police militarization and everything else. It says that I saw an article here that like $500 million of like military surplus stuff funneled into that area a few years ago.
Yeah, we've talked about that tons of times.
Yeah.
I've been on.
Yeah, so we could go on about that too. Well, we're running up on our time here, so let's see here. Federal judge rules millions of AR-15s are not covered by the Second Amendment. Want to touch on that one?
Good old Maryland.
U.S. federal judge, says released a lengthy opinion which essentially says guns regulated in Maryland last year, including the AR-15 and AK-style rifle, along with other magazine-fed semi-automatics, which is like all rifles, fall outside the Second Amendment protections, calling them, ready for this, dangerous and unusual arms.
Yeah, because that's in the Second Amendment. There's a clause in there that says dangerous and unusual arms are not allowed. What in the world?
They're not muskets. They're unusual.
It's all it is catchphrases, man. Remember when they used to call them weapons of war?
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, all it is to grab headlines and get stupid people's attention to make them think that they're so much more dangerous than anything else. It just, all it is bull. Caught myself, sorry. See, you get me all fired up on this independent and freedom stuff. I get really wound up. But no, all it is to get people wound up and their heads out of the game and thinking about stuff they don't need to think about. When guns in general, regardless if it's a belt-fed, magazine-fed, single-shot machine gun, they all should be legal. I should be able to own anything that my government owns, because that's the whole point of the Constitution, was if our government ever got too big, we had the right to take it back.
I completely agree.
And speaking of lawyers, judges, law, guns and money, another disturbing article is Truth About Guns is titled American Bar Association. It says gun control is part of our mission. And I'm going to just read this quote from the ABA President James Silconet. Says, part of our mission as an association is to defend liberty and deliver justice. Silconet said at a program combating gun violence, a role for lawyers and the bar. Someone who cannot go to the laundromat, the movie theater, or school without fear of their safety is not truly free, even if he or she can vote and have the right to legal counsel.
Yeah, let's govern fear. Let's govern everything based off of fear. Mm-hmm. Irrational fear. And they have the gall to say, oh, we're all about liberty and justice. Get out of here. That's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. How can you in the same breath say that you're about liberty and then say guns are a problem? What? Oh my! I can't do it. I can't do it, man. These people. I'm okay.
Calm down. Just relax.
I'm okay. I'm
Yeah,
okay. This is
how
very,
are we
very
talking?
frustrating. There are so many morons out there that have lots and lots of money and a big voice, and is really, really unfortunate. It's not going to stop, but oh my, how is this a logical thought? How are people saying, I'm afraid of something, so let's make everybody else deal? That's like, I'm afraid of cotton balls and nobody can have them.
Dude, how is that guy's hairstyle legal?
Well, between him and the lady that needed braces and an eyebrow wax, I mean, we've got some really classy-looking anti-gunners out there.
Yeah, why are the anti-gunners not attractive at all? Like everybody here on the panel, quite attractive at life. These people, I feel like they were like, it was like almost that smother at birth kind of thing that just didn't pan out. And they're like, oh, okay, we'll ruin everything for everybody else.
Yeah, they didn't get enough oxygen at birth.
Well, hey, I can plug my new thisweekinguns.com hot or not contest. John, Adam, and me.
We could all for like 30 seconds just make a pose and then we just don't move.
Oh, this stuff is so frustrating on so many levels.
Yes, so let's get into the extra stories and get towards wrapping this up. So, John, you want to pick one of these? We'll hit on it.
Let's talk about this KSG. That's that one came up in my feed. Yeah.
All right. Why don't you tell us about the KSG accident? Devastating accident.
Yeah, it's a devastating accident. So apparently, some guy had a ProMag Archangel forend or foregrip mounted on the. Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry. My internet's being really funky tonight. It's really inconsistent. Where did you lose me?
Someone mounted the forend, and we lost you there.
Okay, so guy puts the ProMag vertical grip on the forend of his KSG, and he racks the shotgun while shooting, and the thing comes flying off, and he shoots part of his hand off.
Oh my God, that's
It's brutal. It's brutal, and it's a bullpup shotgun, so the possibility of your arm going forward of the muzzle, if you screw up, you know, that's out there. That's a little bit more possible than if you were using a traditional, you know, like an 870 or something like that.
Right, because we should kind of describe the KSG for those that maybe aren't familiar with it. The what do you call it? The foreguard, the handguard, the pump.
the pump arm.
The pump, yeah, if you have your hand on the very front of the pump of the shotgun, it's essentially right under the muzzle almost, like within an inch of the muzzle, right?
Yeah, it's very close.
And, you know, that's something I actually thought of when I first handled one of these is that, yeah, you got to be kind of careful with your arm there when you're pumping this.
Yeah, I've heard stories like, oh, it's ProMag because people consider ProMag a lower quality part. They think that broke. I've heard others say that the forend on the Kel-Tec broke. What it comes down to is some dude got really overzealous and made a mistake with his gun. You know what I mean? If he's pumping that fast to where he just goes straight out in front of the muzzle, I mean, like, you're supposed to maintain control of that gun. What were you doing, man?
Well, let me play devil's advocate. I mean, you know, if you're shooting as fast as you can, which I've been guilty of, you know, if that snaps off, that's going to give you more forward momentum because it you know, you have that given way as it snaps off. And so your hand may just naturally, you know, go out in front of the muzzle.
Yeah, and if you pull the trigger, that's your responsibility, correct?
I could see that happening so fast that you don't even realize what happened until half your hand's gone.
Yeah, I mean, there's no definitive thing floating out here of what actually broke. I've heard both the gun broke and the grip broke. Something broke and screwed up, and this dude unfortunately lost part of his hand. And if you get shot, no matter what kind of shotgun round, at close range, that stuff's not coming back. The bone, the flesh, it's not coming back.
Oh yeah, that's gone for good. And the worst part is like it doesn't have time. It had to be that 1 in a million because.
Did we lose him?
We're having lag issues. I apologize for anyone listening or watching live. We're having some lag issues. Maybe we lost him. But yeah, it's fortunate for the guy, but I guess just like you said, John, you got to be conscious of what you're doing on the range all the time.
Now, this article, real quick, this article makes a good point that sometimes with the KSG, you really have to rack the crap out of it. Because it's some of them have issues where if you short stroke it, it will not work properly. So people are saying that because you have to do that, it added. The guy was really. This is a horrible statement. He was working it, and and that an accident happened.
So, yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Do we want to? Adam, did you want to pick one of these? Do one more?
No, I guess I'm good.
All
I didn't
right.
really get a chance to look through them.
Okay, I'll pick one quick. The Sonoma gunsmith teenager that was arrested on weapon charges. It's the first one here.
I'm still trying to get over John saying the word "working it."
When I saw the headline to this article, I'm like, man, is this just like that's into guns and likes to tinker around with his dad's guns or something that got in trouble? But no. A 16-year-old Sonoma Valley boy who bragged about his gun manufacture and modification prowess was arrested last week on weapons charges. The teen was seen Friday leaving some park with a gun under his belt or under his shirt, and then deputies detained the teen, and he admitted having a loaded gun and ammunition in his pockets, and then he bragged about his knowledge about gun. He said he was an amateur gunsmith. He also told deputies, this is where totally kind of fell off the rails for him. He's also a Nortino gang member and carries a gun for protection against the Cerrito gang members.
Oh, is that all?
You're naturally
That makes it perfectly okay.
Yeah, of course. And it said the teen was also said that he became paranoid from smoking marijuana.
Oh, just so much better.
And yeah, he sold several of his guns to people on the street just to get rid of the weapons. So,
Wow.
I mean, yeah, it seems natural to me, right?
He's an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that kid's a winner. I mean, hands down, a winner.
And he also posted Facebook videos of him shooting guns, and he posted photos as well. So, yeah.
This kid belongs on Morons Anonymous.
No way. I wish we had more criminals like him. That would be fantastic.
All right. Well, let's get to the pick of the week. This is a section of the show where we pick a gun, gear, gadget, anything that we want to talk about. So, John, what do you have this week?
Let me reach back here and grab it so everybody watching can see. Hold on. This is kind of heavy, so what I have here is a Savoy leather Desert Eagle holster. Now, this was a one-off made for me, but Jeremiah Savoy does a lot of really, really incredible leather work. If you go to SavoyLeather.com, they've got a whole selection of different patterns and whatever you can get on your holster. It's essentially like getting a custom holster for a much more affordable price. But this particular one is I'm just absolutely blown away by this. For those of you listening, it's about 12 inches long. It's the size of a Desert Eagle, and it's got an American flag. In front of the American flag that's waving, it's got an eagle holding my Chaos logo, and the Chaos logo is on fire. It's a bald eagle, and it's gorgeous, and I have a chrome Desert Eagle sticking out of the holster. But definitely go check them out, guys. SavoyLeather.com. I mean, just incredible leather work, and a lot of times these days you see companies like DeSantis and Galco and stuff, and they're just kind of plain holsters. But you get into a company like this where they're doing, more custom stuff, and you can have a customized, really, really cool holster made for just about any gun out there.
If it wasn't for the Israeli gun in it, there's so much America going on that thing.
Well, Well, I mean, let's be honest. The Desert Eagle is quite the American gun. You know
Well,
what I mean?
no,
Regardless
no,
of
no.
where it's made,
No, the Gold Tiger Stripe 50 is the American version.
only if it's shooting my hand loads.
Oh my God, so much fireballs.
For the people out there, I've got a video on these. My Desert Eagle hand loads shoot about 4-foot fireballs out of the muzzle. I've seen fire come out of the magwell in some of my slow-mo footage. I mean, that's America right there. That's what I like to shoot. Wow.
I just want to see you carry it one time. That's all I can.
I'm going to. I mean, I have to. I'm reviewing the holster, so I have to do that.
Right now, you just look like a good hand model. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe our God and Guns podcast interviewed
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah. Yeah. So, very cool. So, Adam, what do you have?
I actually have the new Clear Medical mini blowout kit. This kit is a full-size, fully packed medical kit that's got everything from chest seals to nasal passageway stuff to decompression needles. It's the smallest full med kit you can get, roughly the size of an iPhone 5, about twice as thick. This is actually one of the first ones out in the market, and it should be coming out to people shortly, but it's impressive. It comes with a 10-speed holster. I mean, legitimately the best med kit on the market. And the problem we have as shooters is everybody's worried about putting holes and stuff. Nobody ever worries about patching them up. This thing I carry on my waist every day. It's small, it's out of the way, and if I ever need it, I always have it.
Very cool. And so clearmedical.com for that?
Yep, CLEER. It's a collaboration project between 1110 Tactical and Raven Concealment. But great kit. I'm super stoked that I got to get one. There's a lot of them that are pre-sold. There's some big military stuff going on with them. Really impressive and going to kind of change the medical game.
Right. Well, I'll move on to mine. And, I didn't update mine from last week, so I guess I don't have one.
We're just having all kinds of good stuff with the connections and plugging the same thing 2 weeks in a row. Come on, Jake.
Yeah.
Come on, Jake.
Boy, I really dropped the ball there. You know what's funny is that last week I had like 5 things I was trying to pick from, and now I can't think of one of them.
Of course.
Well, my pick of the week would be the John's Patreon campaign. John, tell me about your Patreon.
Yeah, that's the kind of segue I like.
Oh, man.
So,
not even fair. It's so funny. Let's all just patronize everybody else.
Yep, let's do it. You can go to patreon.com/I'mWithChaos. You can find out what I'm all about. I've got a YouTube channel that's growing every single day. Lots of new and cool stuff. I'm working on a website. We're going to have some really cool articles from some absolutely amazing people. Peeny's writing some stuff for me, and there's a lot of really good things on the horizon. However, I need your help. I can't do this. Unfortunately, the ad revenue that comes in from YouTube is just simply not enough to sustain this, and I would like to make this a career. I would like to take this to that next level. I want people to have a really, really good resource for unbiased firearms information, and currently that is really lacking in our community. A lot of guys have ad revenue coming from places that they're doing reviews for and things like that, and regardless of what they say, money changes the way you think about some things. And I would like to be that absolute unbiased resource for people, and I would love for you guys to check out what I do, and hopefully, if you want, you can donate a little bit each month and get some really, really cool rewards. I've got swag packs, I've got patches coming, stickers, hats, opportunities to be in Google Hangouts and things like that, and there's a lot of really, really cool stuff on the horizon.
Yeah, it's a great way to get this on-demand content, because I cut the cord years ago. I haven't paid for cable or satellite since like I don't know 2005 or something. And so everything all media I consume is on demand, and to contribute to shows like yours, John, which I actually support. I'm not only a client, I'm also a supporter of John.
and thank you for that, man. That's awesome.
And I love giving to a channel like yours that puts out this quality content on demand. I can watch it anytime I want. I don't have to wait till your show's on at 7 o'clock every Tuesday morning or something like that, like you do on Outdoor Channel or Sportsman's Channel. Although they are getting a little bit better about on-demand content. But I love how it's independent. You're not, like you said, not beholden to any of the major manufacturers.
Right.
John, I feel like if you want to really make this take off, you need to get that Sarah McLachlan video with Arms of an Angel playing in the background, where it's like, you could sponsor this young boy for as little as 5 cents a day. He could do all your reviews and firearms knowledge.
No, he's got to do the Jean-Claude mega split.
Oh my God! If you could do that, I would. If you could pull that off, I will give you $1,000 a month.
I got to start working on getting more flexible.
I mean, I will, and I'll line up the 18-wheelers. We'll figure it out. We'll make that happen.
Can we do it on MRAPs or something instead?
No, it's going to be full-blown 18-wheelers moving backwards, and you just got to sit there and just look cool the whole time, just like.
Have you seen the Chuck Norris version of that, where he's like on?
Yes, on top of eagles and stuff.
There's like a whole paratrooper team on top of him or something. I don't know.
Have you seen his the new Trigger the Vote stuff he's in?
Oh, I've seen some of the past stuff he's done. It's been good.
Yeah, he just released a new one where it's like the top 10 reasons, and it's all like playing into that whole Chuck Norris doesn't bleed and stuff like that. It's just, it was awesome, but it's so cool. Like, I really think that Trigger the Vote stuff's doing good. Like, they had the father and the son thing talking about, and we're talking about like kind of implementing into the Second Amendment and guns, and he pulls out one of those biometric things, and he opens it up, and it's a voter registration card. It's just like they're doing some funny stuff, they're doing some classy stuff. I really like what they're doing with their ad campaign. I think it's going to work and reach a lot of people. So it was just funny. That was the first thing I thought of when you said Chuck Norris.
Very cool. So, yeah, and we also have a Patreon campaign here at This Week in Guns, and I kind of changed it up a little bit where we have a $1, $7, and $15 level, and the new $7 level is called our Newsbuster level, and it's also the preparedness level where you not only get the super secret email access where you can contribute news stories to the show, which the two guys that have that access, I will be getting you that super secret email soon. I have not created it yet. I need to go into my server and create that. But anyways, so yeah, this $7 level is where we send a bug out bag essential supplies to you every 3 months. We get together various, whether it's medical or water filtration or anything in the survival bug out bag arena. We search out supplies to add to your kit, to replenish your kit, to maybe start a new kit. And so I think it's a really good way to kind of keep on top of that, because I know that's something I'm really guilty of, is not keeping on top of my survival and bug out bag supplies. So and then the $15 level is where you get a super secret email access, but also a big battle box full of swag sent to you every 3 months as well. So
that's some really cool stuff, man.
Yeah, and have some milestone goals as well, and we're almost to that first milestone goal where when we hit 50 per episode, we add another computer here to the studio where I can bring in landline callers or cell phone callers to get a wider variety of guests on, get some past guests on that just don't have high-speed internet access all that often, and to bring some more personalities on the show. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. There's a lot of possibilities there.
And yeah, that about wraps it up. So, Adam, tell me a little bit about what you're up to over at American Defense Manufacturing.
Um, right now, we're actually in the final stages of launching our rifle program. We're actually the guns are in the final prep for actually being sent to dealers. So we started releasing some stuff out on them. So you'll start to see them trickling out into dealers' hands. We just did a really cool photo shoot with Trigicon, Recoil Magazine, stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. Other than that, man, it's a lot of hustling around. If you're going to be, at any of the big LE shows like TAC Ops East, USA, anything like that, feel free to come by and say hello to me. But lots of travel. Hopefully, spending time with my girl some more, and just hanging out and having fun.
Very cool. John, what do you have coming up with videos? You got anything cool?
I've got a couple reviews coming out next week. I've got the second part of the cleaner review coming out. Let's see. Let me look at my thing here. I've got a scope review, a chronograph review, some ammo, this, that, all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's just constant stuff. And like I said, working on the website as well in the background whenever I possibly can. So there's a lot of things new and cool coming from the I'm with Chaos camp really, really soon.
Yeah, and I just want to give a big thank you to everyone that's already pledged their support to This Week in Guns Patreon campaign, and yours, John, your I'm with Chaos. So we'll have links in the show notes for both those campaigns if you're interested.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, everybody.
And yeah, leave your feedback by commenting on the bottom of this YouTube video, whether it's hate mail, love mail, hot or not mail. Let us know. And leave a review on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. And also, remember, you can contribute by shopping those affiliate banners on our website, whether it's Brownells or Amazon. Before your next shopping trip, just click those affiliate banners. Doesn't cost you anything more, and it helps us out a little bit. So I really appreciate it. Well, thank you, Adam. Thank you, John.
Thank you for having me, man. I always appreciate letting me come on and bring down the level of attractiveness that is us three.
Thanks for having us on, Jake. I really appreciate it, man. It's a lot of fun.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Bye, con Dios.